29th of August is celebrated as National Sports Day. This day is a dream come true for every sportsman who aspires to bring glory for the nation. How are this year's awards going to be different? Are the training centers and size centers ready to welcome the athletes back? Lot of questions in the mind of the viewers. We'll try and get all the answers with the man in the hot seat today, Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju, joining us for a super exclusive on Doordarshan. Welcome, sir, to Doordarshan.
Thank you very much.
First question to you. This is the first time that awards and national sports awards are going to be held virtually. How difficult was it putting it together? Because earlier we could bring all of them together in Delhi, this time at various centers. Putting it together, was it much more cumbersome?
Yes, for the first time, India is going to have a ceremonial event in a virtual manner. For that, I would like to thank Rashtrapati ji for agreeing to confer the National Sports Award virtually. I also would like to thank Honorable Prime Minister, who was also keen to see that this year's Sports Award ceremony takes place on the National Sports Day itself. So it has been a very difficult thing because this is the first time involving Rashtrapati ji. There are lots of protocols involved when it is a ceremony involving the President of India. So our team in the Sports Ministry, my officers in the Sports Authority of India and officials in the Rashtrapati Bhavan and the technical team of NIC and Doordarshan, they are all working in tandem and to ensure that the Sports Awards ceremony is conducted in a befitting manner. And of course, it's a tough time to gather all the awardees, all the sports stars in different locations all over the country. But we are almost ready now and looking forward for the day.
Okay. Now looking at this year's awards, a very large number of awards. When you purely look at this is a non-Olympic year, so you don't see so many recipients of an award. Especially 5 Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, even in Arjuna and Dronacharya, also in the Dhyan Chand category. What are the reasons behind it? Because at the end of the day, in a non-Olympic year, it looks surprising.
There are two basic reasons for conferring the kind of awards which we have announced this year. Firstly, during the last 4 years, the performance of India in the international level sporting events have improved a lot. In the past, we used to get very few medals at the international level. But if you see last year, just before the pandemic hit all of us, India has performed, surpassing all previous records, whether it's in archery or wrestling or boxing or badminton or many other sporting events. Indian athletes have performed very well. So we have to honor them. Secondly, the award is not just for 1 year, it is for 4 years cumulative. Every year's award is a cumulative of the performance in the previous 4 years. So some of the athletes who have not been awarded in the previous edition, because in one single year you cannot confer the awards to everyone. So it is stretched.
Okay.
So I thought next year is the Olympic year. So before that, all those deserving athletes should be given. But having said that, awards are basically decided by the committee set up by the ministry. So I have by and large accepted the entire recommendations of the National Sports Awards Committee, which is headed by a former Supreme Court judge. And the prominent athletes are members of the committee, including some of the prominent personalities from the media, from the other houses. So it's a system which is foolproof. Of course, I cannot say that every decision will be accepted 100% by everyone in the country of India's size. But by and large, the committee had done a commendable job by having a very threadbare, intensive discussion. And finally, they came to the conclusion that this kind of awards must be given appropriately. So as a sports minister, I have accepted almost all the recommendations made by the committee.
Okay, this particular year's award, is unprecedented for many reasons. One, for the first time you see 8 para-athletes get awards in various categories. What was the decision behind it? And do you feel in the future we need to have a separate awards altogether for para-athletes, considering the numbers that is increasing every year?
See, this is a very, very critical question which you have put. Many people may not be aware that India is one of the very few countries in the world where we put the para-athletes at par with the general athletes. If you see many countries, almost all, barring few countries, the top award, whatever prize money, recognition, everything is reserved for the general athletes. Second category comes to para-athletes, then to Special Olympics like deaf and dumb and all other categories. These are in the third category. But in India, we have put para-athletes at par with the general athletes because we want to promote the para-athletes also. And also we are looking forward to bring up all the welfare measures for the other Special Olympic athletes. So it's an inclusive policy which flows from the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to have an inclusive policy of his broader slogan of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas. So it flows from that philosophy. So I don't want to leave behind some of the athletes just because they are differently abled. So I think it's a well thought about decision. In future what will happen I cannot say, but during my time as the sports minister, I want to promote all sectors of the sports, be it regular one, para-athletes or Special Olympic athletes.
Okay, this year also you've tried to promote indigenous sports like Kho-Kho, Malakham, which never got recognition at that, the biggest night I would say for a sportsman. What was the reason behind it, when those names were recommended?
See, India is a very important country from all angles. We are old civilization. We have very rich traditions. We have very, very attractive heritage to showcase ourselves. We have so many indigenous games in India. But over the years, the indigenous games did not get that kind of support or recognition because the Olympic sports and cricket particularly had overtaken everything because of the commercial interest, because of various reasons. But I want to promote number one, the Olympic sports and the indigenous sports along with that. So recently we have recognized Malakham, Kalaripattu, Ghatka, Thangta, and besides that Kho-Kho, Kabaddi, these are very important games for India. So last year we had included certain indigenous sports. This year Kho-Kho, Malakham, these are being given the award in the category of Arjuna award and other categories. So I think it is a way of promoting the indigenous sports of India, and this is good for us. I hope everybody welcomes it.
Okay, now coming to some of the projects that you did in this particular pandemic times, especially that Fit India program that you have launched. Were you surprised with the response that you got in pandemic times when everyone is talking about staying indoors? People realize the importance of staying fit and getting out of that sedentary lifestyle that we have.
Oh yes, this is very interesting. I must share with you. When the lockdown was proclaimed, people thought, what will happen? Everything is locked down. There will be no activities. But we started a unique exercise of online fitness programs, online coaching also, sharing of information input, scientific knowledges, all through online. Then Honorable Prime Minister at the very beginning of the lockdown had spoken to some of the top athletes of the country. Some of them are retired, some of them are playing, and encouraged them to promote the activities online and also to contribute in fighting the COVID along with the frontline COVID warriors. So in a way, activating these youths of the country and encouraging them to stay fit even during lockdown. So the activities which started that time at the beginning of the lockdown and up till now, it's a tremendous to see the result. For example, the Fit India Freedom Run. We say run for India. So as I'm speaking to you, we have already crossed 18 crore of total social media involvement, and more than 50 lakhs people have already participated in the Freedom Run, Fit India Freedom Run. So these are something which I can tell you a sign of new India.
Okay.
New India has to be fit India. And you know, healthy people make healthy nation. These are the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister, and I'm trying to drive it. And I'm very happy that all the stakeholders are coming and participating in it.
Okay. Now, looking at Tokyo Olympics that shifted to 2021, how are you helping the athletes, especially when it comes to handling coaches, plans getting changed, because we had all the plans for 2020, everything has to be shifted for 1 year plus 365 days ahead. How are you helping the sportsmen, especially medal prospects and also, the contingent at large?
Yes, Olympics is the pinnacle of a sports person's dream and achievement. When Tokyo 2020 was postponed because of the pandemic, it was a very hard-hitting decision, but it was unavoidable. So all our Indian athletes who had qualified for the Tokyo Olympics now will have to wait for 1 more year. And it is very difficult to maintain your standard of preparation at the highest level continuously for 1 year. It's humanly not possible. So everybody, including the athletes, the coaches, the support system, technical team, everybody has to reframe, recalibrate their entire strategy. And you know very well that this time India has already had the maximum qualified athletes for the Olympics.
True.
And we will qualify more because there are some more events which are yet to have the qualification matches. So since India is going to send the largest numbers of contingent, not just in numbers, but more qualified means you have breached that standard of qualification mark. So from all angle, what I am thinking is taking on board all the stakeholders like Indian Olympic Association, all the sports federations, my officials in the Sports Authority of India, along with the state government. We are trying to dedicate ourselves for the full preparation for the 2021, which is now described as 2020+1 Tokyo Olympics. So let's hope that the pandemic is not a problem only for India. It is a global problem, but India will come out of it, and our sporting fraternity are gearing up for that.
Okay. Now looking at players coming back to training, have you visited some of the stadiums, training centers that we have, to take stock of the situation? Now since things are unlocking, players would love to come back to the, training centers and train and have national camps. So have you visited some of them and taken stock?
First of all, by all means, I have to be updated about all the preparedness, means all the facilities also. So online, virtually, I am in touch with everyone. I am taking the regular review about the status of our facilities in all the national academies, including the junior one also, but the junior one, they are not yet on the ground, but senior one, they have already started their practice following the protocols of the health ministry, which has been issued, circulated, and we also prepared SOPs by our own experts. Like I have visited like Nehru Stadium, where the track facilities are being relaid and all. Some of the facilities which are old are being relaid, refurbished, and new equipments have come, new system have been put into place. So in terms of our preparedness of proper equipment for the athletes, I think there is no shortage at this moment.
Now looking at one more thing, this particular year we are also planning to host the Under-17 Women's World Cup. How do you see, women's sport, is generally in India is generally cricket, but since now we've got an ISL league that exists, how much of it is going to help women's, sport develop in India?
See, Tokyo Olympic is going to be gender neutral. That means all the events are going to be equal, male, female. So we have to give equal importance to men and women. And in fact, our women have outperformed the men in previous few years. So this is a focus area. So I am very much happy and proud of our women athletes. And for the doubles, for the mixed doubles, there are many things where we need to improve upon, where the women athletes are involved. All the national level academies must have both men and women. That is a policy decision I have taken. So I think as the time comes closer for the Olympics, we will have a better preparation, and our women team are doing very good. And on this particular point, I would like to tell that the Under 17 Women World Cup is going to be a very important catalyst for promotion of not only women football, but women sports in India. And it is a prestigious event. The Under 17 Women World Cup, which was to be held this year, is postponed to next year because of the pandemic. But we are ready. Dates are announced, locations, the venues are all tied up. So we are ready for that, and that is going to have before the Olympics. So Women Under 17 World Cup to be held in India is going to be a major attraction. And I'm sure Indian women, they are going to play for the first time in any of the World Cup, in any category, first time. So as a host nation, Indian girls are prepared. I have seen the standard of Indian women football, especially the junior category. They have improved a lot.
Time for us to slip into a short breather here. On the other side, we'll keep discussing with the Union Sports Minister about Khelo India and the top scheme. Stay tuned.
नमस्ते इंडिया
नमस्ते लैंड
मरहबन इलल हिंद
जरी इंडिया
सलाम इंडिया नमस्ते इंडिया
नमस्कार भारत
मुई
Nous
इंडिया
sommes l'Inde.
नहनु हुनूरा इंडिया माँ हिंदी हस्ती हिंदियान
सलाम हिंदुस्तान
We are India.
Welcome back once again on Doordarshan. We have got the Union Sports Minister with us in a super exclusive interaction here. Now talking about, especially the youth and the ecosystem for sports in India. Khelo India top schemes. How do you see this being a driver now in finding new talent? Because Khelo India, we've almost finished 3 editions of the games. What's been the response that you've seen, and how do you look at an ecosystem being built for the future?
Well, when the Khelo India Games was conceived by Honorable Prime Minister, we all welcomed it that time, and the impact is there for all of us to see. Khelo India encompasses various needs for developing a sports ecosystem in India. For example, the Khelo India Youth Games has become by far the largest sporting event annually held in different states. Last time we had in Guwahati, next year we are going to have in Haryana. The preparations have already started. More than 10,000 athletes participate in Khelo India Games, which is by far the largest in the country and one of the largest sporting event in the world. So this Khelo India gives a perfect platform to the young athletes, and you get the best of the talents from there. Besides that, there are other system of talent scouting that I'll come to later. But Khelo India has been by far the biggest platform for the youths of this country. It is a moment of realization for the young athletes. Secondly, along with the youth games, we have started the university games. For the first time, we had a very successful Khelo India University Games. And that is, I will tell you, it's an international standard. And then at the same time, we also started Khelo India Winter Games. We held in Gulmarg, and it was fantastic. And the Kashmiris, the local people came to me, they said that is one of the best things that has ever happened to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So now onwards, it is an annual event. Khelo India Youth Games, Khelo India University Games and Khelo India Winter Games. And these are going to be major milestones for India, and it has created a new sporting culture in the country. So the ecosystem which you talk about is this, where you give all provisions of facilities, platforms, opportunities to the young athletes, and this will drive India towards our ultimate goal of making India a sporting powerhouse.
Now, next year's Khelo India Games also has the Bric Games that you announced. How do you see both going simultaneously, the Bric Games along with the Khelo India Games? Because that itself is a challenge, because Khelo India itself has over 10,000 athletes. To host the Bric Games along with that.
See, Bric Games is a new concept which was developed in 2016 when the BRICS summit took place in Goa under the chairmanship of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. During that time, there was discussion amongst the leaders of the BRICS countries to have sporting exchanges and conducting of youth games, various sporting events to commemorate all important BRICS summit. So this year is a Russian presidency. Next year, the presidency will come to India. So yesterday, I had a virtual video conference with all the BRICS sports ministers, and I had invited all of them, all the sports ministers of the BRICS country, to participate in the next year's Khelo India Youth Games in the opening ceremony. So during the opening ceremony, BRICS Games will not per se be part of the game. We will have BRICS Games separately, but the BRICS countries will have some demonstrative sports during the opening ceremony and during the course of the hosting of the Khelo India Youth Games. So it's a participation to support our spirit of celebration.
Okay.
So it's a kind of coming together of the BRICS countries, and because since we want to cooperate more for the promotion of youth activities, the youth culture, sports culture, and also to forge closer relationship between the youths of the BRICS countries. So I think they all have agreed. I'm looking forward for their participation next year.
Okay. Now coming to the point of sports scholarship, that's helped many a young talent to be spotted in India. Do you feel that we need to push that particular scheme a bit more harder so that it helps, it leads to a larger platform when it comes to talent being found?
Definitely. See, what I want to tell you, of course, to the audience through you, is that I have seen in the past the young athletes do not get that kind of support in the early stage. Once you become star, then you earn money, you get name and fame. But if you fail, nobody cares you. And at the young stage, when he is not a star yet, nobody takes notice of the young athlete. So what we have done is a comprehensive approach. So we are going to provide stipends, or what you call all support system, like in the top scheme. We have started the junior tops also. Scholarship through various form by the state government, even by the corporate world, they can start this scholarship to the young players so that it becomes a sustainable way of life, and also to promote and to excel in the sporting world. So this is what Government of India has started. I am all for it, and then of course I appeal all the state governments to come in large number, and especially the corporate world. They have the resources, they have the money. The corporate world must come forward. Not only corporate world should engage in their foundation. They are doing good in their foundation, but they should come out of their foundation and also support the activities which are being initiated by the Government of India or any of the state governments.
Now talking about the National Sports Federation, especially this particular pandemic, there could be a squeezing when it comes to funding that they are receiving. Have you received more requests for aids, especially in these times by federations asking for help to host the nationals, to help them? Have these kind of requests come before you?
Yes, the requests keep coming. The basic resources of the federations are basically from the government or sponsorship. Sponsorships are being dried up because of the pandemic, less economic activities. So they always look up to the government. And from my ministry, so far there has been no shortage, even during the pandemic time, in providing resource support to the sports federation and to the athletes, particularly to the athletes. So whenever such requests come, we take it case by case. If I feel that we are required to provide more support to a particular sport or particular event, then we take decision case by case. Of course, we will not allow any of the sports federation in India to suffer for the want of more resources or support.
Okay. Now shifting focus to IPL, this time IPL going to Dubai. As a sports minister, how do you feel an Indian Premier League that shifted to Dubai? How do you see the prospects and the chances of it, especially in this time?
To be honest, as a sports minister, I would like to see sporting event in India.
Okay.
That everybody would desire to have that kind of wish. But the fact is, as a large country, our challenges in the pandemic time is more, because the spread of pandemic will further complicate the matter. Our fight against the pandemic has to be very focused. So in the event of any of the big sporting events like IPL, and without spectators in the stadium, maybe BCCI felt that it was not appropriate to hold the IPL matches in India in this current situation. So when the matter came to me, I have said that whether you organize here or abroad, if the foreign ministry and the home ministry permits, no problem. So home ministry also has given permission, and the MEA also has given permission for IPL to be held in UAE. I think maybe because of various other reasons, it was thought befitting by the BCCI to take that decision.
Now on a personal note, you keep yourself so fit. What's the reason behind it, and is that an inspiration, model that you set yourself for others to emulate?
See, there is a simple philosophy in life. Human life is not very long. So as long as you are alive, you must be really alive and kicking. You must be physically fit. Before becoming sports minister, I was always active physically, mentally, in all form. I would like to appeal every youth of India to do some kind of physical activities at any point of time. You don't need a big space or a ground or a gym to remain fit. By remaining active, you can be fit. Like look at the Prime Minister, he is so fit. That is why his level of his alertness, physically, mentally, is so high. So I want every youth of India must remain fit, and I also appeal that fitness is not limited to the young people. Okay. It's of all age, whether you are a young boy, young girl, all age, man, woman, everybody has to be fit. So as a sports minister, if I am not fit physically, I will not be able to inspire the people of the country. So I also have an important task that while calling upon others to remain fit, I also should be fit by myself.
Okay, on that positive note, it's time for us to thank you for joining us for the super exclusive interview. It was a pleasure having you here on Doordarshan.
Thank you very much, and it's my pleasure to have an interview with the Doordarshan.
Well, COVID times has hit us all hard, but as the sports minister say, we all need to firm up and be ready to go against the tide and to prove a point. That's it from me on this edition of the super exclusive interview. Thanks for watching.